Hello, my name is Kat Atkinson and I'm a first year fashion marketing student at Leeds Beckett University. In this vlog, I'll be discussing marketing, the 4 orientations and some common marketing myths. Firstly, what is marketing? The Chartered Institute of Marketing state that marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating and satisfying customer requirements profitably. It is not just a function of business, it is a way of doing business in which every employee of a company is responsible for its marketing. It's a very outdated view that only the marketing department are responsible for a company's marketing. For example, a business with very bad customer service can be extremely detrimental to a business's reputation. A business who successfully markets themselves should put the customer at the heart of all of their business decisions. A company who does this is said to embrace the marketing concept. In the next section, I will discuss the 4 marketing orientations, their definitions, and some examples of how the orientations relate to real-life companies. Production. In the production orientation, the customer's wants, needs or requirements are largely disregarded in favour of producing a quality product efficiently and cheaply. A company who adopts this orientation believes if they create the best possible product at the best price, the customers will come. One example of this is the motor company Ford. They produced their famous T model from 1908 in a variety of colours including grey, green, blue and red. But in 1914 they opted to produce their car in only one colour, black. It's been reported that the reasoning behind this was not because the customer wanted a black car, but because of the cheap price and durability of black paint at the time. Henry Ford jokes in his autobiography, a customer can have a car painted any colour he wants as long as it's black. Ford prioritised the low cost of producing a black car over a car of another colour and produced cars on an assembly line instead of handcrafting, which means they could produce more cars at a cheaper cost. This made them production orientated. Product. The product orientation differs from the production orientation because the company is focused on developing existing products and creating new innovative products and are less focused on tight margins and producing such items to low cost. They strive to be market leaders based purely on their product. An example of a highly successful product-orientated company is Apple. They were founded in the 1970s and called Apple Computer Incorporated, but in 2007 would thereafter be known as just Apple Incorporated due to their shift into electronics and not just computers. After they announced the launch of their iPhone, their shares hit an all-time high. Their products are by no means the cheapest, in fact some would say they are premium priced, but they are an excellent example of a product-orientated company because despite their price, they are extremely popular and have a cult following today. Sales. The sales orientation focuses mainly on the sales and promotion of a product a company already produces and doesn't specifically take into account the wants or needs of a customer. A sales-orientated company relies heavily on advertising and promotion and doesn't see the value in repeat business as some other companies may do. Marketing. The marketing orientation puts the customer at the heart of all business decisions. Doyle and Stern in 2006 talk about a marketing orientation being a key element in the customer-led business or customer orientation. The success of their business lies solely with the fact that they are very responsive to the customer's wants, needs and desires. They see great worth in forging lasting relationships with customers and actively seek repeat business. They heavily rely on market research to gauge customers' needs that are not being met by rival companies and fill a gap in the market. I will now go on to discuss some common marketing myths and why they are not true. A strong brand is invincible. At first glance, it's easy to think that this statement could be true. If your company has a strong presence online and on the high street and is well known, it's easy to assume that it's invincible and will be there forever. Yes, the brand has probably got a lot right at one point to be in the position of being labelled a strong brand. But simply achieving that position and remaining stagnant will not cut it in today's fast-paced market. For a company or brand to succeed, they need to be continuously researching and predicting in order to stay in line with their competitors and delivering what the customer wants when it's current. Also in this day of social media, everyone has a voice. It's easier than ever for companies to be named and shamed and dragged through the mud by a social media scandal which could seriously affect the brand's reputation. One example of a strong brand that was not invincible is Woolworths. Even today, Woolworths is a well-known name in houses up and down the country, even though they went into administration in November 2008. In its heyday, Woolworths had over 800 stores all over the UK. Unfortunately, it faced severe financial problems in the late 90s, early 2000s. The biggest profit-making department for them was music, and with the increasing popularity of digital music, which would eventually phase out most physical CDs altogether, it faced mounting problems competing with online music providers such as iTunes. Supermarkets also began transforming from not just food shops, but to one-stop shops for all homewares, clothes and other items Woolworths specialised in, making it hard for them to compete with large rivals. They did eventually envisage how popular online shopping would inevitably be by rolling out a collect from store initiative just 2 years before they went into administration, allowing the customers to order from their website and collect from a local store, but it was a little too late as the company's profits failed to increase. If they had done their market research and predicted what a massive impact the internet would have had on shopping habits, with the introduction of digital music and 10% of all sales in the UK being online, with that only set to increase in the coming years, their future may have been very different. A big name can sustain a higher price. In some instances, this can be true. Some brands market themselves as high-end destinations, targeting high-earning customers who desire quality over the best prices. For example, Waitrose. Many items in Waitrose can be found at much lower prices in other supermarkets, but the brand continues to do well because it's targeting an entirely different market than its more affordable competitors. However, this cannot and should not be applied to all big names. Take Primark, for example. They were founded in 1969 in Dublin, Ireland, under the name Pennies. Since then, they have continued to expand and now have 325 stores all over the UK. They are famous for their cheap fashion, often copying trends that can be found in Topshop but for a fraction of the price. One of the main reasons Primark has flourished over the last few years is due to the recession and people not having available money for fashion. The idea that they can still afford the latest trends has obviously resonated with consumers. Members of distribution channels do not influence marketing. As discussed in my introduction, everyone has a vital role in marketing a company, not just the marketing department. This also includes members of the distribution channels. For example, if the manufacturer of the clothes we buy in a well-known shop is involved in a PR or media scandal, it can affect the entire reputation of the company even though they're not directly involved. Something that is playing out currently in the news at the moment is the discovery of Syrian refugees, some of them children, are working to produce garments for two leading UK companies, Marks & Spencer and ASOS amongst others, for far less than the minimum wage. Both companies have been forced to issue statements on the matter due to the amount of media coverage surrounding it. This is an example of how a scandal like this could potentially affect the company's reputation. Also, if you had a bad experience with a courier company delivering your goods, you are more likely to complain to the company you bought your goods from rather than the courier company. Therefore, it is essential for a brand to work with like-minded third-party companies in order to deliver a consistent service to the customer, which will maintain and grow their reputation. A satisfied customer is a loyal customer. Yes, a satisfied customer is more likely to be a loyal customer, but a company should never be complacent and rely on this theory. A customer, although satisfied, will rarely stick with a company if a rival is offering the same product or service at a better price. A successful company will strive to research the customer's wants and anticipate changes in what the competitors are offering in order to keep their customer. The customer is king or queen. This myth entirely depends on the type of business. If the business is marketing orientated, as discussed earlier, then the customer will quite possibly be the king or queen, as their business focuses solely on putting the customer at the heart of all their business decisions. However, if the company is product, production or sales orientated, then the customer may not be the sole focus. At the end of the day, a business's main goal, unless a non-profit organisation, is to make a profit, and if the customer desires a product which is too expensive to produce or is too niche to appeal to a wide range of customers, a business may opt to produce a cheaper alternative. Thank you for watching my interpretation of the marketing orientations and some marketing myths. I feel confident in describing and giving real-life examples of companies that fit into each of the 4 marketing orientations and understand what marketing myths are and why they are false.